Hello, welcome to today's episode of the Group Therapy Podcast. Today we don't have a horror host. We have a horror host adjacent, a helper, Abigail Ross. Abigail, tell us about yourself.
So, hello, I'm Abigail Ross. As stated, I work at the Monster Bash conference, which is run by Ron Adams of Ligonier, and he also has Creepy Classics and Ligonier Valley radio station. So, I work those 2 to 3 times a year. I work with Dr. Dread of Dr. Dread Reviews on the Monster Channel, and I've done skits for his Swamp Theater and his Dr. Dread Reviews. I have done skits for Kirk Maynard of NB Puppets on YouTube and the Monster Channel. So I kind of do a little bit of everything, but it's all related to classic horror.
Yeah, well, those guys are good guys. I've
Mhm.
had Doc on the show. I've met him. We've had the guys from up there with the puppets at MyCon and hung out. We've talked many a time, and it is fun. It's getting to know more of the community because people, they want to talk to the host and they want to talk to maybe the host sidekick or whatever. But
Mhm.
people really need to know more of the people, the other people, more of the helpers, the people that are in the skits, the people in behind the scenes and stuff like that. And I don't think we get that. So I kind of want to reach out to you for you to tell us about what it's like more behind the scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah, so thank you.
Hmm.
I'm obviously not a professional at all.
I don't think any of us are.
I film all my skits on my phone in a tripod. And when I say it takes a while, I mean, I will do a 2 minute skit and it will take me like 8 hours of filming and editing and setup. It's insane.
Oh yeah, I
I'll
did.
know it. Go ahead.
I did a 30-second commercial, and it took me almost all afternoon to do a 30-second commercial.
Definitely. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
It's all done with my phone though. I have, so I don't read like my lines or anything. I usually have my parents behind the scenes, like filming, setting up cameras and stuff. But whenever I film it, I have like pages on pages of my cue cards, and I just go over those, memorize it, and then do the skits. I don't read my cards, nothing.
Uh,
So it takes me like 50 takes.
See, if you're like me, I try my shows when I'm the host, when I'm the captain. I go in and I try to shoot it, and I just shoot one long take and then edit it
Uh-huh.
out the crap I don't need. And
Yeah.
then sometimes I just look at it and go, yeah, that's the best one. That's horrible, but it's the best one.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to do that or you're going to be there all day.
Yeah. Especially like if I'm fumbling around, like where to put my glasses. I can't read what I just wrote.
Uh-huh.
So I put my notes off to the side. Um, but how did you get in? What came first, the conference or working behind the scene or working with Doc Dredd?
Okay, so it's actually a really long story. My mom used to go to the Monster Bash back in the late 90s and early 2000s. And so she took a break when I was born in 2006. And so she used to talk about it like here and there, because she missed it. And for years I didn't go. So my first Monster Bash was in 2019, and I absolutely adored it. But then COVID hit, so we had to take another break. And in, I think it was 2022, we went back. A friend of ours, Terry Mount from That's Terrific, who does like her own creations and stuff,
Hmm.
she was having a wedding at the Monster Bash, and we happened to be there. And the so the Monster Bash conference came first. But whenever we were at her wedding, we met Dr. Dredd and his wife, Joanne. So John and Joanne Murray. And we saw Bucky, their little white puppet, the rat bit.
Yep.
And I loved him. So, of course, we went up and talked to them about him. And that's what got the whole thing rolling with me being his president. So, from there, basically, I honestly don't know how it happened, but I became the president of his fan club. And so we were filming after that. So the bash came first, and then I became Bucky's president and did all my filming. And then I became Monster Bash staff last October, which was a dream come true for me because from my first bash, I wanted to be staff already. So it was amazing.
Heck yeah. That's a big jump for someone like, I mean, what, 19 now?
I'm 18 right now. I'll
18.
be 19 this year, yeah.
It's it's cool to see somebody have that much drive that
Uh,
young.
I
Um,
never would have guessed that any of this would have happened.
oh yeah, because me, I was just like at 18, 19, I'm like, I just gotta go to work. You get up, go to work, come home, get up, go to work, go home,
Uh,
and no desire to do much anything. I didn't get the desire to do what I do now until like much later in life.
hmm
But you said your mom came in and
Yep.
got you into the whole thing. So is your mom a big horror fan? The big
My mom is a huge, huge classic horror fan.
nice,
So am I. But
nice.
I mean, aside from the classic horror, I mean, we love all classic movies, classic music, everything. My dad, not so much, but he's getting into it. We're getting him there. But yeah, my mom got me started with everything. My first classic horror movie was actually The Gorgon with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing.
Yeah,
And I still remember that. So that's really, I guess, what got me into it.
nice. It's cool because so many people grew up on the Universal monsters,
Hmm.
and me, I was more of a Hammer guy. I
Yeah.
love the Hammer horror. And I joke around. I was like, because I had no choice because my name's Paul Christopher Lee, so that's my legit real name is
Uh-huh.
Christopher Lee. And I go, I tell people to this day, I was like, I'm named after Dracula, Count Dooku, Sauron, and then they're like, oh really? I was like, no, no. My mom just, I was originally going to be Christopher Paul Lee. My mom didn't like the way that sounded, so she flipped it,
Uh-huh.
and that's how I ended up becoming. But I
It was
still
meant to be.
yeah. I'll tell him. I'll tell him because in my eye, that's why I'm named that. I mean,
Uh-huh.
my mom, she's like, "Who's Christopher Lee?" but it is cool because I grew up as somebody that my grandparents got me
Hmm.
into the old horror movies. Then my kids they got into it because of me, and then they found their own niche on what they really liked. Do you see yourself like like slightly askew from your mom, or are you guys just like,
That's a tough one to say because honestly, we love all the classic stuff. So I'm totally with her on all of that. Like the old movies stuff. We'll have different like favorites and stuff. Like personally, they're really like obscure, like non-heard of films, but I love Eye of the Devil and Carnival of Souls.
oh,
My mother liked those, but not as much until I started to get into them. And then she's more of like Curse of the Demon, like those types of movies and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And so now I'm getting more into those because of her. But we parallel a lot with music, movies, basically anything classic. I like some modern stuff, of course, because I'm growing up with it, but I we parallel a lot.
Well, it's like me. I'm one of the people that I love horror since
Hmm.
I can remember, but I can always go back to the classics. It
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
matter.
definitely. Yep.
Every year, like I'll just get I guess I'm watching Universal today.
Uh-huh.
And you just watch it, especially when Roku added the Universal Monster Channel. I was like, there
Uh-huh.
for like 2 weeks, I didn't turn the channel. And I just get up, just left it on. I would go to work, come back, I'd turn it back on, keep watching.
Hmm.
Um, but it's cool seeing younger people still getting into classics.
There's not
Um,
a lot of them. Like
yeah,
in school, I'm like the only one.
well, see, you get my son is 25. He's still likes it, but he's one of them ones who like sits down and really examines film.
Uh-huh.
He does it with music too, and he's like really nitpicky. And
Yeah.
then of course I
I
give
do
him
that
like
a lot. I notice like the little details. Mhm.
and he's like me and him will sit there and have talks about like dumb stuff like literally Friday I think or Thursday Wednesday, sometime this week we were talking about possums, and we got on the
Uh-huh.
and I go, yeah, they used to use them in old horror movies as giant rats because we have the joke that possums aren't possums, they're just dire rats.
Yeah.
And, and I go, but go back to Dracula, and if you watch the scene where they go to the brides, you can see possums
Hmm.
in there instead because they're supposed to be rats.
Yeah.
And that stuff we noticed. He noticed when he was a
Hmm.
kid, and I'm like, yeah, it's amazing that's still a thing. So, um, but okay, you got hooked up with Doctor Dread. Now we've got to the conference to there,
Hmm.
and then you're the president.
Yep.
How much fun is it working with Doctor Ed? He
It's
seems like
a
a blast.
It's a lot of fun. I think I've only done maybe one or two live skits with him, like actually working together. One of them we filmed at the Bash, and then one of them was at another conference in Ohio.
Hmm.
But I've only done a couple actually live with him. Of course, I meet up with him. We've done like cons and stuff. Like we'll meet up and stuff as a group of friends and go. A couple of us and some other horror hosts. But I mean, live working with him, I've only done once or twice. Most of them I do on my own, like at my house, or if we have to like travel somewhere to get a background or something. But it's a lot of fun because it's always something different with him because he does his themed swamp theaters and stuff.
Hmm.
So it's really interesting to do, actually. Whenever I talk about it in school, kids are like, "What are you doing?"
See, that would be the way it would be when I was your age, because people were
Uh-huh.
like, what the hell's a horror host?
Yeah,
That's still
exactly.
things.
Yep.
Yeah. It's I have to explain that to people all the time, because people like, I'm sitting there talking, I go, people are talking about, oh, I miss old horror movies. I'm like, did you ever watch the Monster Channel?
Uh-huh.
What's that? Oh,
Yeah.
it's all horror hosts, and they're like, you mean like because I'm in an area where I grew up on Doctor Creep. I don't know if you know who Doctor Creep is.
Yeah.
There you
My
go.
mom grew up with Chili Billy Cardille from
Yeah.
Chili Theater in
Yep.
Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Yep. And for those who do not know, Chili Billy is in Night of the Living Dead.
Yep.
Yep.
The reporter.
Yep. A lot of people do not know that, but it's a little bit of
Mhm.
trivia today. But they were like, "Oh, you mean like because Doctor Creep?" And I was like, "Yeah, like Doctor Creep." And they're like, "Oh, is it old stuff?" Like, no, there's stuff people putting stuff out
Yep.
today. Literally, like brand new episodes are being released of old movies and stuff, and some newer movies and whatnot, whatever people can get the rights to. Or
Hmm.
like me, just whatever you can air until they tell you to put it down. Uh,
The Monster Channel's great for that stuff. Like, it's really nostalgic for, especially like my mom's generation. But then
mhm.
for me, since I didn't directly experience it, it's nice to have it now.
Yeah. So I have to ask. You can tell me no; it's none of my business. But
Mhm.
your mom's generation is probably about my generation. I'm assuming.
She's like 50, so, or like 51. I honestly could not tell you.
I'm 50, so it's
Okay.
yeah. So your mom's generation is my generation.
Yep.
But I'm teaching people about the Monster Channel, and I'll go out and I'll bring them in when I bring in my convention, my here in Ohio. Um, there's always a table. I always have a table set aside
Uh-huh.
for the guys from the Monster Channel. So it's whoever wants to show up, you can come here. You guys all have. I mean, you gotta let me know if a bunch of them show up, because I have
Yeah.
more than one table. But there's always a table set aside for the Monster Channel for me.
Hmm.
And people are like, it's so funny because you can see people slowly kind of flocking around their table, like,
Yeah.
what are you guys doing? And they're like, oh, I remember that. I remember that. And then it sort of grows. Uh, but, and you being so young, still in school, and people
Mhm.
like, well, it's got to be.
Yeah, it's interesting. And the funny thing is actually like on my college my like college paragraphs and stuff you have to write for acceptance letters and things. I actually put in there all of my work with the Monster Bash, the Monster Channel, my skits. So they're probably reading it too and they're like, "Really?" Because it's so unheard of
Yeah,
nowadays.
because people don't realize it's still out there, and like,
Uh-huh.
but then you go to a con and you'll go into the area with the horror hosts, and they're
Uh-huh.
all just people there talking to their favorite horror hosts, and watching some of these guys blow up huge. And I'm like, man, I'm so proud of these people that I've like
Uh-huh.
met or interviewed on my show, and now they're like Sally. She's just
I
gone through
know.
the freaking roof.
It's crazy to me to think like not really that there's still that big of a following for it, but like that many people have heard about it and like they're all coming together now. Like that's what's nice at Bash because it's a bunch of people with the same interests and stuff,
Oh
and they
yeah.
all come together.
Well, the somebody said what the horror is some of the nicest people you'll ever meet,
Definitely.
and I
Yeah.
go, yeah, yeah. I mean, we may not all agree on some stuff, but when it comes down to it, man, horror can kind of bring a lot
Yep.
of people together. And where I'm my other side is I'm horror and comic books, and then the comic book people are like
Uh-huh.
acid and vitriol, and I'm like, I just like the books and I like to read them, so that's where.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
um, so now you've gone to this. Are you looking to? Are you thinking about maybe trying to do a hosting yourself?
Oh, probably not. Definitely not. I film my skits and it takes me way too long. I'm like a perfectionist. Every little detail has to be on. So I really don't think I could do it because I know that they're like used to it. They know what they're doing now. They can film this one or two takes, edit it together and get it out. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, because we were laughing about this. They go, oh, we need to do short to make what 7 hours is too long.
Yep.
Jack Evan on the Monster Channel, so
Uh,
he goes, I hate because many because I keep looking and it's like it gets longer and longer. And I was like, and that's just one of four shows that I do in a week. And I'm like, he's like, I don't know. I was like, I'm a crazy person. That's what I keep doing. That and I'm not gonna lie, my youngest son has now gotten into it. So now I do it and I have fun with him, and
uh,
he's embracing it. And I mean, he has autism, so he gets a little. But
mhm.
when he wants to do it, I'm like, "Yep, okay, bud, you get to hang out with daddy and work with me," and he
That's
loves it.
great.
And now he got his own costume, I guess, his gimmick, and so
Uh, it looks like a lot of fun, but like I said, I don't think I could do it. And come up with something new every week. I could no.
and but I thought the same thing, and
Mhm.
I've had so much fun doing it. It's crazy. It's addictive, I think, is what it
Oh,
is.
I'm sure, yeah.
And but I gotta say, I'm digging a couple of the posters behind you. You got your ghost poster and Bucky back here behind you.
Yeah, are you familiar with Ghost?
Yeah,
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm
yeah.
a huge fan. Huge fan.
I've never seen them live, unfortunately, but
Me either.
I
I
got
V I have VIP tickets for their ritual concert this year, so I'm ecstatic about that. They're my favorite band.
oh, I found them a few years back,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, I like this. And then of course people are like, well, it's not metal. I'm like, I
I
don't
know. I
care.
know.
I enjoy it. I was
Yeah, and
like,
I'm a big 80s heavy metal person, and so I love both.
mhm.
Like it's just a little bit different, but I still think it is.
Oh, my wife is the one who looked at me a few years back because I was a huge music snob, and I had to be
Uh-huh.
like, because it had to be heavy, it had to be fast, and it was
Mhm.
metal because I grew up on thrash metal and
Yeah.
death metal and stuff like that. And I started embracing some of this other music because she's like, why are you being a music snob? And I'm like, I don't know why I'm being a music snob.
I love a variety of different things through all the eras, but I can't listen to new music except for Ghost. That's like it for me.
Now, see, I listen to freaking everything now, pretty much.
Uh,
I was laughing with my buddy a while back, and he was like, "I only listen to the same three bands." I'm like, "I'm not even listening to bands in English right now." I
yeah.
go, I was listening to Creator, which was German,
Uh-huh.
The Who, which were Mongolian. Um, right now, I'm listening to a couple Japanese bands and a Korean metal band. And I'm like, I don't. They're like, what do you know? I was like, I
Uh-huh.
don't know. I just like the music. I was like,
Yep.
I couldn't tell you the first lyric. I
Yeah,
couldn't.
yep. I hate it when you can't sing a song though because it's in a different language, but like you vibe with it so much, it's terrible.
Well, we talked about this last night because I have my own store, and when we leave on
Uh-huh.
Saturdays, we all go out to eat. Some of the people, well, some of the guys that played Magic decided they wanted to go out to eat with us, so we took them with
Hmm.
us. And we're sitting there talking about music and all that fun stuff. And we're they're going, oh, you go to. I was like, dude, I go to concerts as much as possible. And I go, yeah, I go. Um, we'd just been to see In This Moment, and they were playing ABBA before the show started.
Uh-huh.
So we are laughing about ABBA, and I go, oh yeah, and I go, yeah. I was like, then the one of the bands I like, Clutch, they come out to the same song, Money, and then the band Health that I really like comes out to the opening theme song to the anime Neon Genesis Evangelion, and it's straight, and the entire crowd will sing the opening in Japanese
Oh my
when they take the
gosh.
stage. And he goes, oh, whatever. And I had it on my camera on my phone, and I showed it to him. He's like,
Uh-huh.
they're doing it. All the people in it are singing right along with the Japanese intro to
Yeah.
anime. So
The funny thing about me and my music is, like, for example, this year I'm going to see Ghost, and I'm also going to go see Barry Manilow. Like, I'm totally different. My mom's the same way.
I've I've seen Brett Michaels, and then like a week later saw the band Whitechapel.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah.
and then year before last year, I took my wife to go see Stevie Nicks, and then I've seen Clutch, and then synthwave bands and other
Uh-huh.
metal bands.
Yeah. It's funny because I'll go from 80s heavy metal, like Wasp and Metallica and all of them, and then I'll go to like 50s pop. Totally different.
Oh yeah, it's I was listening to music while I edit, and
Mhm.
I had my records out, and I took a picture, and my friend sends me, he goes, "Man, your music taste are schizophrenic," because it was
Yeah.
literally um, like Iron Maiden, the Pulp Fiction soundtrack, some synthwave album, and then like Metallica.
Yep.
And
Yep. Totally relate to that.
so, but it's cool because, like I said, you're young, and you're digging on stuff that's like even way before my time with the older music,
Yeah.
the older movies, and it, with your parents, are they really cool with everything you're doing? And
Totally,
yeah,
totally. They're totally on board with it. Yeah. My mom, especially because she likes the classic horror, because my dad isn't as much of a classic person. He totally supports this, loves this for me, but he doesn't really get the whole classic horror thing, the classic movies, the classic music. He likes more modern stuff. So he doesn't get it, but he's happy for me about it. My mom, on the other hand, is like ecstatic because she's into all the classic stuff, so she thinks it's just fantastic.
neat. I'm very. I think it's cool when parents back their kids on stuff that like that, because
Hmm.
so many parents are like, well, you need to be realistic. Be
Yeah.
realistic.
No,
Don't
they definitely
kiddie
support
stuff.
this. Yeah.
And I'm over here telling my kids like, I don't know, what do you want to do? My kids like, I'll make video games. Cool, make video games. Well,
Yeah.
I am very. I try to be that dad that like. I actually have other people like, man, I wish you were my dad. I'm like, do you?
Uh-huh.
um, but okay, we're sailing along here as I'm getting sidetracked here. I got to get back on track here.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that. I do that a lot. Sometimes I have to have my wife sit there going back on track.
Yeah.
She's upstairs. But when you do all this stuff, are you ever interested in maybe working with some other hosts? Maybe like working with, reaching out to work with the guys over at like Chad and Bunny, or Halloween Jack or Sally or anybody like that.
Yeah, I'd totally be open to it if they asked me to. Like, for example, this podcast was totally out of the blue for me, but I was ecstatic about this. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
But usually I don't reach out to the people like with Kirk from Chad and Bunny. We knew him through a connection through Doc because it's
Hmm.
Doc and then there's Kirk and then we have like Rich and the Midnight Movie Crew. There's a whole big group of us that hang out at the cons like Bash and stuff. But usually they reach out to me because like for example with the Chad and Bunny show that was a Christmas special. So
Hmm.
I didn't think I'd be thrown in with a bunch of hosts and stuff to do a skit for them, but I was. So yeah, I'd totally be open to it if they wanted me to. I just don't like to push because I've like no experience in this stuff. I'm not a host, so I never reach out.
You maybe you should maybe not just reach out and just go, hey guys, if you need me, I'm over here. I'm,
Yep.
I'm adjacent. Because my goal is that I want to I'm rapidly approaching uh 4 years of my Saturday morning serial show.
Oh, congratulations.
And I think I'm on episode 198, and I think I've only missed 1 week in that amount of time that I've been pounding these things out like a crazy person.
That's insane. I could not. That's dedication.
Well, that's just the Saturday morning show. Because I couldn't tell you how many of the group therapy podcasts I've done. Let's see, 198 was the one that just dropped Saturday morning. The 150 was the sci-fi show I just did. So I did 150 episodes of that, 198 of that, and then I just started a new one, which I'm only on episode 15 of.
Wow.
And
I can't imagine filming all of those like at the same time.
I
That's
literally, and then on top of that, I went to a concert on Thursday,
uh
and normally I record or I do all my editing. I record all night Wednesday night, and then I
mhm.
do all my editing all day Thursday. Well, I knew I was going to be gone all day Thursday. So I had to up everything, shoot everything on Tuesday night, edit as much as I could on Wednesday night, and then finish up my editing on Thursday before I left on Wednesday night.
Yeah. Yeah, I would not have that amount of dedication to it. That's why I couldn't be a host. And that's also why like I don't reach out because I'm thinking they already have a lot going on. So if they like need someone, of course I'd do it, but like, I'm not going to push or anything.
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe just like, hey, if you guys ever need another person, I'm over here. Because I had a skit I had worked out. I had a friend who she moved away, but she was going to help me work on a skit,
Hmm.
and like we were going to do it because I have an ongoing joke that each one of my shows is a different universe.
Uh-huh.
So if you see me here, this is a different one. If you see me on Saturday morning, that's a different version of me. If you see me on Saturday night or Friday nights, that's a different version. And we keep going. So it's the
Like the
multiverse.
multiverse.
Yeah. So we were going to do one where it was like staticky, and then she would be me.
Uh-huh.
The hat, the shirt,
Yeah.
the robe, the whole. Never say anything about her being the host. Just do it straight, and then the next episode, come back and everything's back to normal.
Uh-huh.
And never talk about the fact that I was not the host for one episode because technically I was. That was just a different universe.
Yeah.
But so I would like something like that. Like if I were to bring somebody else in, I would look
Hmm.
out for somebody who's already done stuff and would work with me because she was an actress, so that would be great for her. So I'd want somebody to
Yeah.
be able to do that. So, you should reach out to people. You should let them know that you're, hey, just hop on the Monster Channel feed and go,
Uh-huh.
hey, hey, I work with Doc and Kirk over here. So if you guys
Yeah,
ever
I'm on there every time Doc's on there. A lot most of the time that Kirk's on there, I'm on there. So I get on for some of the hosts that I know really well. And so I know a couple of them in the chat now.
yeah. See, my only problem is that literally I can sometimes get on my chat on my show,
Uh-huh.
but I'm literally running my show and my show at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm doing counter programming for myself,
Yeah.
evidently. But yeah, I mean, you should definitely like, just let it stand out there. Don't like push, but just like, hey, I've
Yeah.
worked with these guys. If you need me, I'm here. I can do skits, and we can go from there. And you're young enough, so you can get a couple years. You're learning. It's an experience, and you know.
It's a lot of fun to do. I really enjoy it.
Yeah. See, I just had, and I really enjoyed this. Now I got to do a different one, but I went to an anime convention last Sunday and I did a live episode. And I've
Uh-huh.
never done a live episode of my interview show because I got to interview all these voice actors. And I'm
Uh-huh.
like, man, I kind of like that. I think
Yeah, see, live would stress me out.
it was fine until I got to the very, very end. And I had two people I tried to interview who were like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, oh, okay, okay,
Mhm.
but it was like, all these other ones were like, yeah, I'll do it. They're hopping up and like,
Yeah.
happy. And then the last tier is like, well, we don't really know you, so we don't. I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, all right. And then the one tried to grab my camera out of my hand.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I'm sitting there because I go, well, I'm live. And I go, would you mind an interview? And I have my camera, so that this was aiming towards me. So I was filming
Yeah.
myself. And I'm like, I'm like holding it kind of down and I'm like filming myself, and she's like, "Well, I asked you not to record me." I'm like, "Well, I'm not recording you." I was like, I'm recording myself. And right when she does that, she grabs from my phone, and I jerk my phone around. I was like, "I'm not recording you." I was like, it was aimed at me. I was like,
That's
"I'm
insane.
good, bye," and I walked. And then I walked to the next one. I go, "Would you be interested?" And they're like, "Well, not." And I'm like, "Okay, thank you, bye." I didn't want to deal with
Yeah.
another one, so I just,
Yeah.
but I was happy because I got to talk to the voice of Ash Ketchum from Pokemon. So, and she's also the voice of April O'Neil from 2002 Turtles. So that's what I was really impressed by.
Uh, I'm not huge into like the animes and stuff, so most of the names, like, because I know that a lot of the classic horror people are also into the animes, in the
Mhm.
comics and everything. I don't venture that far into like the verses, but yeah.
Yeah. What other stuff are you into besides the horror and music? Because, like I said, I see the Bucky poster. You see
Yeah.
the,
Yep.
the
Definitely huge into Marvel. Love Marvel. Not I haven't gotten into the comics yet, which is shameful. I know. But I love the movies.
yeah. I grew up on the comics. The movies came secondary. It came.
Uh-huh. I'm
I
a
grew.
big movie buff, big into music, classic horror, as you know. So the classic horror, the music, movies in general. I can do classic, I can do new. So I'm into a lot of that. Marvel, love Marvel. I'm really, really into Disney too. As crazy as that sounds, classic Disney especially. Like Chip and Dale, the originals, Lady and the Tramp, Aristocats, the really old stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm a. I really my favorite Disney movie is Black Cauldron. You know,
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
but I love Robin Hood, the Fox one. I love that
Oh
one.
yeah, that one is a classic, yeah. I just recently watched that one again.
It got me hooked when I was a little kid because I think I got to see it on like the re-release when it came back out because it was before I was born. But then,
Yeah,
but
my
Disney.
mom's also a big Disney freak, so I get that from her too. Classic horror and Disney, both of us.
So you said you're a Marvel fan. So what
Yep.
are you going? Are you going Thursday or Friday to go see where Captain America?
I was thinking about, I don't know if I'll go on opening day, but I was thinking about it, yeah. Because I know they have a couple movies coming out this year, and I really want to see that one, yeah.
The one I'm pumped for is Fantastic Four. First
Oh
steps.
yeah, that one looks really good. I also want to see Thunderbolts
Thunderbolts.
because
Yeah,
Bucky's in it. I'm a
that's right.
huge fan.
Yeah, and it's I wanted him to be Captain America so bad because that's
I
what he
know.
became first. Was he became Bucky became Cap first, then Sam
Yeah.
became Cap, and now we got Cap and Cap going at the same time. So,
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it's going to turn out.
but he's literally people. I have Marvel fans give me crap because or maybe because they're like, oh, you're just a Marvel fan. You like the Infinity War and stuff like that. It's like no,
Uh,
Captain America: Winter Soldier, my favorite MCU
yeah,
movie,
that one is so good.
and then
Love it.
my favorite comic book movie, period, hands down, Logan. So
I haven't read it, so I
you've
will.
never
I
seen
haven't.
Logan?
Well, I know I actually don't even think I've seen the movie. I've seen a couple,
Oh,
but I don't think I've seen that one yet.
it was the last Wolverine movie before he's old
Yeah.
man Wolverine. You need to watch that.
Maybe I should because I have Disney Plus and I need to get back on track with Marvel. The whole multiverse thing, the TVA, I'm a little behind on all of it. So
So I am the only thing I have not watched is I haven't watched Echo and Miss Marvel,
I
but I
haven't watched
watched the
either of those
Marvels.
either.
So
I
I
haven't
watched
watched the Loki series either, or
that's too.
Hawkeye, and I love Hawkeye.
Loki's great. Hawkeye's good. Hawkeye's fun. Um, I'm like I said, I'm waiting for I'm going to go see Cap this week. Then in a few weeks, in a few months, we'll go see Thunderbolts, and then a few months after
Yep.
that, we'll go see Fantastic Four, and then
Uh-huh.
like a week after that, we'll go see Superman.
Yeah, it's a big year for movies
Oh, I hope
of
so. Because the
all
last
kinds.
couple have not been good years for movies,
Yeah.
or they're the sneaky little ones that get by you because they don't show them
Uh-huh.
in a theater, and then you're like on Tubi or something like, oh, what's this? Oh, this is really fucking good. All
Uh-huh.
right. So,
Last year we saw Gladiator 2 and Nosferatu in the theaters. Like we like one week and then the next week we went to see the other one. I liked both of those, honestly.
I got to ask you. I was going to ask you what you thought of Nosferatu. I have not got to see Nosferatu yet.
Okay, so a lot of people have mixed opinions on Nosferatu. Personally, from a perspective of I love the original. Absolutely love it. The new one goes off on a slightly different direction. The storyline's different than the original. Of course, if you've seen the trailer or reviews, you probably know that.
Hmm.
But overall, I it was shot really well. The cinematography is absolutely fantastic. I can't compliment it enough. The storyline was a little difficult because it's different than the original, but overall, I really did like the movie. And for like weeks after that, I kept thinking about it. So it kind of stuck with me because it's different and it's original. So I enjoyed watching it, yeah.
Yeah, those are the movies that you get, the ones that like live rent free in your head.
Uh-huh, yeah.
The
And
ones that,
it definitely did.
yeah, because I am A24 is hard for me, I guess, because like I liked The Witch, which was Edgar's, and but it was slow burn, and I get why some people didn't get it. Um, I loved it for one scene, and the rest of the movie, I'm like, the rest of the movie's okay, but I love that. But it's a well shot movie. But you get these beautiful movies, and sometimes I think that they're just,
Overlooked because they're different.
yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
I haven't sat down and watched The Lighthouse. I was not a fan of Hereditary, which everybody loves
I didn't
Hereditary,
see that.
and I couldn't get into it. That's why I've never watched Midsummer yet either,
I haven't seen that one either.
because I didn't much care for Hereditary. But then I go,
Nosferatu, the ending is absolutely fantastic. So that it basically made the whole movie.
nice. Well, like you said, the OG original Nosferatu was
Mhm.
a work of art,
Yeah.
literally. Then I like the Klaus Kinski
Hmm.
79 version,
Yeah.
and I even caught part. I haven't seen the whole thing. I need to watch the Doug Jones Nosferatu he did a few years
I
back.
don't think I've seen or heard of that one.
Yeah, he also did he did a remake of the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari too.
I think I heard about that one, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about the Nosferatu remake though.
Yeah, I don't even, because it's one of them ones where as soon as it was like 100% in public domain, like everybody was like, "Ooh, cool! I
Mhm.
can make a movie." Uh, this is what's nice about IMDb, because we can simply go on here real quick.
I love IMDb. I'm always on there.
Yeah, it's make sure that's for there last year 2000, or not last 2023. The Symphony of Horror, Doug Jones.
Mm.
Yep, right there it is. It's got a,
You have to look for that one too.
yeah. It's that's what's nice about. See, I grew up like your mom and your dad. I
Hmm.
was one of the ones that had to go to the video store to rent
Yeah.
movies. And we would start and we would go through all the horror, and then every once in a while you get a new one, so you had to backtrack a little bit, get that new one, so you
Uh-huh.
watch it and keep going. And now everything's just, I can go, oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
and it's so much fun, but it's also scary because there's so many of these movies that will probably never see the light of day in a physical copy, and it's
Yeah.
scary.
My one teacher thinks I'm insane because for music I collect LPs,
Mm-hmm.
but for movies I still buy them on DVD if I really like them because you
Mm-hmm.
need a physical copy of them because eventually if they're ever taken down, there's no way to watch them again.
Oh yeah.
So
Well,
I still collect DVDs.
oh, I do too. I have DVDs, Blu-rays.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I have laser discs. So you're way young. Do you know what a laser disc is?
I think so. I think some of my Disney ones might be actually.
They're giant CDs. They're size
Oh
of
no, wait,
records.
maybe not. No, I swear, no, maybe we don't have one of those. No.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I know what you're talking
yeah.
about.
So I have stuff on Laserdisc that's never been released on DVD. And
Uh-huh.
then I say that, but then finally they released one of my favorite movies, The Keep. And I had that on VHS and Laserdisc, and they finally released it on Blu-ray. And I go to order it, and it's sold out. I'm like, so.
That sucks. I hate that.
It, but yet again, it's cool that you are
Uh,
a physical media person at 18 years old.
yeah, we have some VHSs actually still. So one of my favorites, which you'll think I'm insane, but it's one of the older Disney ones. It's not like old, but it's Disney and it's on a VHS and it's Snowed In at the House of Mouse. It's a Christmas special and I loved it on VHS. My mom finally found it on DVD.
Uh, but,
Finally.
I think we might actually, I might actually have that somewhere, because my kids, when my kids are uh, 32, uh, 27, to be 28 soon, 25 and 14.
Hmm.
And my middle kids, they had VHS tapes when they were
Yeah.
little. And I worked at a video store. I worked at Hollywood Video. So whenever they would liquidate stuff, I would jump on it, like the Disney movies and stuff. So I had like the House
Uh-huh.
of Mouse, the
Yep.
House of Villains, because remember the
Uh-huh.
when the villain showed up, and I'm pretty sure we had the House of the Christmas one from the
Yeah, the
house.
snowed in one. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it's somewhere probably in a box in my storage unit. Um, but you're a physical media person. You like vinyl. Um,
I love the classic Star Wars. Classic Star Wars. The originals.
I'm a Star Wars fan. It doesn't
Uh-huh.
matter. I'm one of the people. It's like people like Disney. I'm like I don't care. I'll go see Star Wars. The little kid in me gets all excited because I'm gonna go see Star Wars. Uh,
Uh-huh.
but you know, because so many people and I've talked this with some other people that are younger that everything's digital now. Everything's
Yep.
at your fingertips. But you're like me. You're like yeah. This may eventually go away. I don't want to
Yeah.
lose it.
Which it's lovely to have it digital so you can have it whenever, but like at the same time, sometimes it's nice to have something physical. I
Yeah.
still like physical books. Everyone else is like online. Like I
Hmm.
can't read online.
No, it's my wife had to explain to me because she goes I got a girl at work. She was reading on her tablet and she's like, oh, did you read this book? And she's like, it's my husband. Tina goes, oh, my husband hates reading on Kindles. And she goes, oh no, she goes, I got the real book. She goes, if I
Uh-huh.
get a Kindle version, she goes, I have to have a copy of the
Yeah,
real.
the real one.
I have shelves upon shelves of actual physical books. I have boxes and boxes of comics,
Uh-huh.
shelves of DVDs, stacks and stacks of records, and CDs, and even cassette tapes. Which,
Uh-huh. We still have a couple of those of my mom's.
yeah, it's. um, so I got to ask you about your mom here.
Hmm.
So your mom, was she a metal kid too?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Definitely big metal,
Yep.
big metal
Yep.
kid.
Big hair, loved heavy metal, everything. Yeah. Yep.
Had to go through a can of Aquanet hairspray every time she left the
Yep.
house. Yep.
Super old.
See, that's what's fun is seeing kids like kind of like me. I've never pushed my kids to be like
Uh,
me, and they kind of ended up being like me.
yeah, I just
And
followed my mom's footsteps in everything. I don't know how it happened. I just did.
just did. That's neat. It is because it's because so many parents kind of want their kids like you need to grow up a little bit. You need to grow up a
Mhm.
little bit, and I'm just like just be you.
Yeah. I even like old cars. Like I'm obsessed with Mustangs, which I want a new one really bad, but I love the old ones. The look of everything, like the classics, the vintage, everything. I just love it. Old photos especially. Love old photos.
You got like you one of the ones that's got to get the old find the old black and white
Yeah.
photos and the tintypes and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So Mustang fan. See, I like, but I'm only from about 67 to about 73.
Hmm.
Like I like those years, like the fastbacks and the
Yeah. Those were gorgeous. I
yeah.
love those.
Yeah. I say that right now. I'm driving a my Magnum's parked. I have but my daily driver right now is a 1985 Crown Vic.
Really?
That's what I'm driving right now. And
I love classic car shows and just like car shows in general. They're so much fun.
yeah, well, there's that whole I joke around because they're like, oh, you need to get a car that gets good gas mileage. It's like I have a car that gets good gas mileage. I have
Yeah.
a car that gets horrible gas mileage. But my stepdad was sitting there. We were talking. He goes, my Crown Vic is everything underneath is the exact same thing on his Mustang.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's got the same style engine, the same transmission, same everything except for
What
mine's
year
got.
Mustang?
He's 68.
Oh, one of the classics, yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's also separated by almost 20 years, but it's
Uh-huh.
still got the same size engine, the same size transmission, everything like that. But that's when they didn't really change a whole lot underneath. They're like, that
Hmm.
engine works, that transmission,
Yep.
don't change it. Now you get a car. What year is it? And they're like, it's a 2018. And 2019. Will anything fit on it? Not a damn thing from that car will fit
Yep.
on that car. So I found that out because I buy my other car is a 2007 Dodge Magnum
Hmm.
and the station wagon looking thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I get the car that they made for 3 years. Try to find there's no parts for it. Uh, but yeah, you're like I know it's,
All over the place.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
you're a 50-year-old trapped in an 18-year-old
Yep. My one teacher tells me that all the time.
man. It's
I work on our school's morning show. So I do our like I help film our morning show in the morning for our school. And the one morning I actually played I'd Really Love to See You Tonight by England Dan and John Ford Coley. And he went, "You are so strange. It is like you were born in the complete wrong generation," which I swear I was. I love everything old.
yeah. It's the same way with my son Joe, my 25-year-old.
Hmm.
You'd assume he's 40 if you
Yeah,
talk to
yeah.
him. Well, because it is a big, I think that's one of the reasons why I get along with my kids so much is
Yeah.
because we have enough you know to bond with, and a lot of
Hmm.
parents don't have that with their kids.
No, they don't.
They're
A
so
lot of my
far,
friends don't.
yeah, and you're so far removed from each other.
Hmm.
And I think that sucks. And to see that you have such a great relationship with your mom and that have so much in common with your mom,
Yeah.
it's really cool. And
Yeah,
that,
it's amazing because we do like literally everything together. My dad thinks we're insane because we're like on the same wavelength. We'll think the same things at the same time. We love the same things. It's crazy. We're like the exact same person.
hey, you got to enjoy that. You got to
Uh-huh.
enjoy that time, especially if you have that time with somebody that you're that close
I
with.
do, yeah.
Yeah. Me and Joe are together constantly. And my
Uh-huh.
one buddy goes, "You're always with your son." I'm like, "Yeah." It's like he goes to concerts and movies. We
Uh-huh.
go
Yep.
everywhere together. And he's like, don't you? I'm like, he is my friend. I mean, he's my son,
Yep.
but he's
Yep.
also my friend. So we run with it.
My
Uh,
dad will be at work and my mom and I will be here at home and we'll have afternoon tea together. Like the British do it, like afternoon tea.
get a tea and a scone.
Yep. We actually have scones downstairs right now.
Oh, what kind?
The like classic English scones. So they're not the sweet kind, they're just the regular kind.
They're
But
just the biscuit.
you make them sweet with like Devonshire cream and jams and stuff, and that's how
Mm.
the British do it. So that's how we do it.
Oh. See, I am a huge. They used to have them at all places. Kroger's.
Uh-huh.
They had the honey cherry scone,
Oh, I've never had that.
and they were delicious. And I don't know what happened to them. They just stopped selling them. And I'm like, you guys suck.
It's more of an American thing to add like the fruits and the sweetness and stuff to the actual skin. The
Hmm.
British keep them plainer and then sweeten it with toppings. So
Hmm.
we do it the British way.
I just I like a scone. Although for those who do not know, scones can be incredibly dry,
Yeah.
but they're delicious.
My mom found a recipe online, so she makes them sometimes.
Oh, neat. I've never even tried to make a scone. I really should. But mine would be like, was it dry?
Yeah.
Trying to eat like flour, just raw flour.
Sand. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I gotta ask because your mom's. Have you ever tried to get your mom into working with you on anything?
Oh, she's been in some. So is my
Okay.
dad.
Yeah.
My mom, I'm trying to think which one. Okay. She was in one. Do you keep up with Dr. Dread reviews?
Sporadically. I can't keep up completely. Yeah.
Okay. So the one storyline that he had, I think it might have been, I can't remember if it was a Dr. Dread reviews or a Swamp Theater, but there was a cursed coin. I ended up getting cursed by it. So it's a whole big storyline. So in the one clip my mom was in with me and we were witches because of like this background to the curse on this coin and stuff. So she was in that one. Then for the Chad and Bunny show, my mom and dad have been in a couple with me, two or three of them. So yeah, we do some as groups.
Nice.
My dad's usually the cameraman, and my mom is usually like if I need cue cards, she'll have those, or if there's extra props or something, she'll do those. So yeah.
Heck
We're
yeah.
always involved in it together.
Dang, that is sweet. And see, yet again, you guys need to work together, do your own show.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I get my wife to help me here and there, so she'll pop up. That's like we have our show that we do together, which has only got a couple episodes, which is the
Uh-huh.
Doctor and the Witches Diabolical Double Feature Show, and, and I'm trying to work with her on helping me do a metal show because I've done a metal
Uh-huh.
interview show. I want to do another type of metal show with her, and I go, but we got to do this. So you got to do the big hair and the whole
Yeah.
9 yards, because And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'll do that." And I'm like, "Hell yeah, we can do that." So I was like, except for I'm getting old, so I can't do the big long hair like I used to because
Yeah.
I'm old and I don't have hair anymore. um, but yeah, God, that is so cool.
Uh-huh.
Like I said, you need to maybe don't be pushy, but just reach out, just send out feelers to other hosts that go, hey, I've worked with
Uh-huh.
Chad and the Bunny, and I worked with Dr. Dread. Maybe would you if you need anybody to help or appear on anybody else's shows, I can do that.
There
Uh,
was one guy, I'm blanking on his name right now, but there was one guy who watches the Monster Channel a lot. I can't think of what his username is, but we actually saw him at the bash and he recognized me off of Dr. Dread's show, which was insane to me because I've only been like in a couple of skits and I never thought that I'd be recognized, but he knew who I was and it absolutely shocked me.
it's very shocking when you get that first note.
Uh-huh.
Um, one of the last horror hounds I was at, I'm literally sitting at a table with my wife, and we're sitting there talking. This lady's across because again they got these big round tables for everybody to sit at,
Uh-huh.
and this lady's like looking at me weird, and Tina goes, "Do you know her?" And I'm like, "I don't know her." And she goes, "Or do you have a YouTube show?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "I thought so. I thought that
Uh,
was you." And
it
I'm like,
feels
"Oh
so good
yeah."
to be recognized.
And I'm like, cool. She goes, oh, I go, do you, what? She goes, oh no, my son does, and he loves your
Uh-huh.
show. I'm like, well, tell him I appreciate you watching the show. And later on, same con, I'm walking down the hallway. My wife's waiting in line. I'm literally walking with a giant toy, so I got a toy under one arm. I'm
Uh-huh.
walking along, and I hear, "Hey, Captain, great show!" And I'm like, "Thank you." I don't know where you went, but I appreciate it.
It feels really good to be recognized.
Oh, it does. It's fun, and it's weird because right now um, I have people reach out to me with emails and on messages online and stuff. And since I have my shop phone on my Facebook page, I have people who call me now,
Uh-huh.
and they're like, I can't believe I can't believe I'm talking to you. I'm like, dude, I'm nobody. I'm a guy with a YouTube show. I mean, I like, just have fun, enjoy what you do. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Mhm.
And I was like, dude, don't be shy. If you want to talk to me, reach out. I was like, I'll talk to anybody. I
Yeah.
was like, I may not get to you right away because I am busy, but I will get to you. I will talk to you, and
Yeah.
I'll answer your questions. So, um, but yeah, you should. You've got charisma. You got personality.
Thank you.
You've worked with other hosts. You really should look at getting talk to some. I mean, when this is all over, I may not do it like right after the show, but
Yeah.
if you ever want to do like pop up on the sci-fi show or the anime show or the cartoon show, whatever, just let me know. Even if it's
I'd
just
be
like,
more than happy to.
yeah,
If like I said, if anyone ever needed me, including you, if anyone wants me on the show, I'm more than happy to do it.
yeah, and I love that about our whole lot of people. Um,
Hmm.
I haven't done a whole lot of crossovers except for doing the interviews, but they're always like, yeah, we'll do it. You just let me know, and I'm
Yeah.
like, cool. When I get to
I'm
see,
very easygoing about it. Like on some of the skits I've done for Dr. Dread, because I'm taking some honors classes and college classes right now in high school.
mm,
And sometimes he'll like send me a skit and I'm like, yes, I want to do this so bad that I will actually put off my homework.
don't do.
Which like a day or two. If it's not due or anything, I'll like put it
Okay,
off.
because
But
if you're in honors stuff, you don't want to screw.
oh no, I if it's due, I will do it. But like if I have a couple of days, I'll be like, okay, so this is the plan and I'll do it this day at this time and I'll figure it all out with my homework and everything. So it's a lot of fun. I love doing it.
Nice, nice. Well, you know what? This has been fun. You have great personality. You're like I said, you got good charisma. You got good personality. You know, you're working with Doc. You're working with the guys over there at Chad and Bunny,
Mhm.
and you know, you got a good support group with your mom and your dad, and help you with this stuff. And you know, if you enjoy it, you know, run with it, have fun with it, play with it, do whatever you want with it.
I do
And
enjoy it.
y- maybe you don't want to do it now, but down the road, you know, you might have your own show on here on the Monster Channel, hanging out with all the rest of us, and have to have the meetings and whatnot. um, but yeah, you know, if you enjoy it this much, maybe you should take that extra step. You know, maybe maybe
I'll think about it maybe.
don't
Yeah.
go crazy like I do and be like whatever. Um, but like you can do like one a month. You know, just do it.
Yeah.
Um, but I gotta ask you because I've asked this to all the other horror hosts, but even though you're not a horror host yet, I'll say that yet in parentheses. Um, you could host any movie. What movie would it be?
Any movie. Okay, so hosting it, so like talking about it and stuff, showing the movie.
Yeah, showing the movie. And money's no object. It's not like they're gonna charge you anything. But you can put one movie. You can do one movie on your show.
Okay. I'd probably go with the classic because I know a lot of people do the modern ones. So if
Hmm.
I went with the classic, I would be between Eye of the Devil and Carnival of Souls. Now, if I had to pick, it would probably be Carnival of Souls, which I absolutely adore that movie. Everything about it, the atmosphere, the filming, everything. I know it was low budget, but I adore that movie. So it'd probably be that one because I could honestly talk about it for hours. So,
The literally first show I did as a horror host, not as my other characters, um, was Night of the Living Dead and Carnival of Souls.
are you serious?
Yes,
I
and
love that movie. I love it.
that movie is so atmospheric,
Yes.
so it, it feels wrong. And I know
Yeah, and
this,
it makes you think about every
yeah,
single scene.
it has that sort of the music and the lighting, everything makes you feel
Mhm.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like
I would have loved to talk to Herc Harvey about that movie. I would have loved to talk to him about it.
mhm. And it's literally like my one of my mother in law's favorite movies.
Uh-huh.
Literally, she watched our show just so she could watch.
My mom got me the fully like not like refurbished, but I forget exactly the word for it, but from Criterion, and it
Mhm.
has a whole bunch of interviews on it, extras. It's amazing. I love that movie.
See, I really need to because I've got probably five different versions of that movie,
Uh-huh.
and I do not have the Criterion version of it yet. I feel
You
like
need
that's
to
something I
get it.
really need.
A
Uh,
couple of them have really terrible sound, like online, or if you buy them, some of them have really bad filming. The Criterion one is so clear. It's amazing. So I would highly recommend getting it.
did you see the new Criterion version of Night of the Living Dead?
I don't think so.
They cleaned it up so much that there's scenes that I never knew there were zombies in the background. And all of a sudden, I'm
Really?
watching it, and I'm like, where the hell did that guy come from? Or that one?
Yeah. There were
Were
a
they here
couple
the
scenes.
entire time?
Yeah, there was one in the Criterion one, which if you're familiar with Carnival of Souls that much, I don't know if you'd remember it or not, but there's a scene where she's playing an organ right before she leaves, like her original like
the,
business to go over to the church,
hmm?
and it's in the Criterion one, and I did not remember that in any other version I watched. So I don't know if it was an added refurbished scene or if that
So
was always there and I never noticed.
she played on the organ at the old church before she went to the new church to play, where she has
So
that whole moment where the guy goes and kind of, oh, that's not, kind of, that's not the music we play. And I know it's not but he kind of like,
yeah, it's like right after like the death scene whenever they drive off the bridge in the car. And then I think it shows her getting out of the car like on the like little island thing, and then it'll switch to a scene and it looks almost like a warehouse and she's playing an organ and they say bye to her and then it switches to her in the car leaving to go to the new church. And I never remembered seeing that scene before until the new one.
remember that either.
Yeah,
I've watched
I
that.
watched it, I'm like, was that in the original? I couldn't remember.
Huh. I'm going to have to watch that tonight. At least watch that scene because
Yeah, it's like right in between. because I didn't ever remember a transition scene there before, but it's in the Criterion one, and it looks
Hmm.
great. So
Yeah, because I love the Criterion stuff. Man, they clean some of them
yeah.
stuff, some of them up so good. I'm a Godzilla